All right, you've been grinding it out, mastering algorithms, theory, and code. But let's be real. What happens when you step outside the classroom and into the wild world of big data? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're giving you the map, your guide to the essential resources that will help you navigate your career and start making a real impact.
Welcome from Nexus. In this explainer, we are going way beyond the textbook. We're handing you a compass for the professional big data landscape. So think of this as your guide to the key landmarks, the communities, and the big institutions that literally shape the entire industry. So here's the big question, right? Your coursework gives you all the theory, the what and the how. But where do you find the actual tools people are using every day? Where do you connect with the folks building this stuff? And who's making up all the rules anyway? That's exactly the gap we're going to fill for you. We've broken down your compass into 3 main parts. First up, we'll get into standards and research bodies. These are the folks setting the ground rules. Then we're going to dive into the awesome open source community, which is where a ton of the real innovation happens. And finally, we'll talk about lifelong learning and networking, because in a field moving this fast, you never, ever stop learning. Okay, first up, standards and research bodies. Now, I know what you're thinking. This doesn't sound like the most thrilling topic, but trust me, it's the absolute foundation of everything. These are the organizations that create the common language that allows these massive, complex systems to actually work together. So why should you care? Well, it's simple. Without standards, it's the Wild West. Total chaos. Standards provide the security frameworks that keep data safe, the performance guides that make things run smoothly, and the protocols that let all these different technologies talk to each other. They're what make professional work, well, possible. Let's meet a couple of the heavy hitters. First, you've got NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. You're going to run into their standards pretty much anywhere in the US tech industry. Then there's the CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance. Since so much big data is in the cloud, what they say about security and privacy is basically gospel. Pro tip, casually mentioning you're familiar with these in a job interview, it shows you're thinking like a pro, not just a student. It's a game changer. Now let's move on to something a little more hands-on. If the standards bodies are the architects drawing up the blueprints, then the open source community, they're the builders. This is the buzzing, collaborative engine that builds so many of the tools you already know, like Hadoop. And at the heart of this world, you have open source foundations. These are basically nonprofits that give a home to all this free-to-use software. They provide the structure for people all over the world to work together. And the biggest name in this space, without a doubt, is the Apache Software Foundation. They're the ones behind huge projects like Hadoop, Pig, and HBase. I mean, the very backbone of countless big data systems. Okay, so how do you get in on this? Here are 2 fantastic places to start. The Apache Hadoop forums are where the experts hang out. You can see real-world problems getting solved in real time. It's literally like looking over the shoulder of a senior engineer. And hey, don't sleep on LinkedIn. Joining a few big data analytics groups is a direct pipeline to what the pros are talking about, who's hiring, and what skills are hot right now. This all brings us to our final and maybe most important resource, lifelong learning and networking. Let's face it, big data moves at the speed of light. The tools you're learning today are going to evolve, so staying on top of what's new is absolutely critical for your career. And one of the best ways to stay on that cutting edge? Conferences. Seriously, imagine being in the room where the latest research gets announced, where new products are launched, and where you can meet the people who could hire you one day. It's a direct connection to the future of the industry, and you get to be right there. Whoa, okay, that's a list. But just look at the variety here. You've got these huge industry-wide events like TDWI or O'Reilly's Strata, and then super focused ones like the Big Data Retail Forum. Here's my advice. You don't need to buy a plane ticket tomorrow. Just go online. Look up the agendas for these conferences. See what people are talking about. It's the best snapshot you can get of what the industry is obsessed with right now. All right, let's bring it all home and talk about your next steps. We've covered a ton of ground, but the whole point was to give you a clear, usable map for the road ahead. So here it is, the big takeaway. You now have a guide. You know the key organizations that write the rules, you know where to find the communities that build the tools, and you know how to tap into the events that'll keep you sharp for years. You're not just looking at lines of code anymore, you're seeing the entire ecosystem. So, now that you have your map, what's next? Well, any good explorer will tell you a map is just the start. You also need to know what traps to avoid. And that's exactly what our next explainer is about. we're going to cover the 10 ways to avoid big data bloopers to help you navigate this terrain safely and successfully. I'll see you then.